Hello, Void. How are you? I know it hasn't been very long since we last spoke, but after yesterday's movie, I need to get the taste out of my mouth. So I decided to try my hand at another streaming service roulette and hoped for the best. And what I got to wash it down with was, well, something pretty wet and juicy. Oof. The 1993 film Ticks, which is about ticks. Biggins. Hmm. It was the early 90s. You really didn't need to go too complicated. Okay, so how did this movie stack up to yesterday's? Yeah, it's better. It's a lot better. Okay, oh, just jump right in with a plot because it's not a hard plot. So, a group of troubled youths are being escorted on a weekend camp retreat to try to help them sort through their issues. Notably, the main character is played by Seth Green, who has abandonment issues after he was left in the woods for a couple days by himself, so he gets downright nauseous whenever he's by himself or isolated. So he's pretty much trying to do a trial by fire thing and go off into the woods and see if he can manage. There's two people running the program. The director and his new wife, I believe, his daughter, and that's pretty much it for staff. Then you have the pack of troubled youths, which are your usual hodgepodge of stereotypes, but they have enough character that it actually makes each of them to a degree likable, or at least interesting to watch. Particularly the bad boy of the group, Panic, as he calls himself, because he doesn't. He was kind of cool. Anyway, they go up to the woods and are eventually assaulted by giant ticks. There's a little more to it than that. Now, the ticks are where they came from is not initially stated, and they leave a little bit up to they keep you. They don't just come out and show it right off. They show a little, but now up in the area there's a lot of illegal marijuana farming, and some of the local cash crop makers, runners, whatever, are trying to make sure that the campers don't get too close to their business. And so two of them kind of give them a little bit of a talking to, and they are delightfully over the top. One guy, and I kid you not, his name is just Sir. That's all he introduces himself as, and that's all he's referred to as is just Sir. Is amazingly over the top and brings a lot of entertainment to this film. And his redneck accomplice. But further out in the woods, another. It's not clear if he works with these two or if he's has his own crop, but he's experimenting with a uh, herbal enhancement formula, which make a bigger crop, bigger profit when he sells his drug. It leaks onto some tick eggs, and well, we have a movie. And it pretty much goes from there as the group is slowly introduced to him before cultivating in a big mad dash to get out of Dodge before the whole place goes up in flames. It's entertaining enough right there. So, what does this movie do right? First off, the ticks themselves. Completely practical effects, I mean, early 90s, and they're actually pretty well done. Most of the ticks are about yay big, so they're not like crazy size, but take that side's gonna do some damage. Now, it's a mixture of puppetry and some stop motion thrown in here or there, but they're convincingly done, and as eventually they have a giant steroid infused tick that bursts out of a human body, and so it's like a 3 foot 3 to 4 foot long tick, and the effects are really well done. It is a very wet, very squishy, very juicy movie. There is blood and tick bits flying everywhere. It's definitely not a clean film, and it's kind of a maybe avoid if you don't have the strongest stomach, as there's a lot of goo in this movie. So, the ticks themselves, very well done. The acting in this film, all the main cast do a good job of playing their characters in their states of. Some of them are a little more whacked out than others, and they play that beautifully, as particularly as the shit starts hitting the fan. The only one who wasn't the greatest actor was Sir, but again, his performance is just. He chews more scenery than the ticks do, and it really adds to it. I will say, for a movie called Ticks, this movie has a surprising degree of subtlety. I mean, the way the film opens, you just kind of see this build a better mousetrap style machine, which is how the guy's running his herbal enhancement thing. But you don't know what the machine is, and all you see is just it dripping onto the tick eggs. It doesn't tell you to say what it is or why. It's like, at first I was like, is this some sort of toxic waste? Is this a conspiracy dot? Didn't really come right out and say it until much later in the movie. And the ticks themselves don't make a too strong of an appearance to the campers right away, but they slowly lead into it. Like, once they get out there, they comment that it's unusually quiet, like they aren't seeing many animals. And you'll see like tick eggs just usually just outside of the characters, just kind of on trees here or there, just out of line of sight, or the characters will find interact with them, but not know what they are. So it does a decent slow build up, and it's decently well. It's actually really well paced. Um, so let's see. Also, the movie doesn't take itself too seriously. I mean, how can it? It's a movie called Ticks, about giant ticks. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek at points. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a horror comedy, but it does have moments get kind of lighthearted, particularly in the veterinary scene when, sorry to say, there's a dog fatality in this film. Alas, poor Brutus. But during that scene when the vet pulls the giant tick out of the body of the dog and it gets loose and starts running around crazy in the veteran office, it's fairly amusing. And a lot of the characters have some comedic exchanges, so it keeps a lighthearted atmosphere amongst the goo and gore. So it's a fun movie. Let's see. Don't know if there's anything else really to go into. Oh, I guess in keeping with sort of the lighter heartedness, it almost felt kind of like in the same niche as Gremlins without the slapstick. So that creature feature without going too serious, but this one doesn't go that ridiculous. Like you get some tracking shots from the ticks and just seeing them scurrying all over. So overall, yeah, I like this movie. I don't know if there's too much else to say on this one. For the most part, the better the movie, the less I have really to comment on. So I'm giving this one. I was debating back and forth between 3 and 4, but this one is a cut above some other movies. For an early '90s B squishy movie, it is better than it really should have been. So I'm giving this one a 4 MacGuffins. I know I'd seen this one before, just many years ago, so it was kind of fun to see it again. So it holds up very well, and yeah, I do recommend Ticks.